The Review Warrior.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a fantastic Christmas filled with amazing presents and the incredible Christmas dinner that only your mom could make. Now it's time for my favorite part of the year, my top 10 best films of 2023. This list is for those who haven't seen me before and for those who have been following me for a couple of years. But before we start the top 10, as per my other lists, I have some honorable mentions. These are the films that didn't make the cut, but the films I loved. There are only 3 this year, and without further ado, they are: Dumb Money. I don't know what I expected out of Dumb Money, but what I got was a very enjoyable film about the rise and fall of GameStop through the eyes of a YouTuber who invests in stocks of the game company. Paul Dano was great, as was the supporting cast including the talents of Seth Rogen, Pete Davidson, America Ferrera and others. I loved Dumb Money and it taught me a lot about the whole GameStop true story from during the pandemic, and it's one of the honorable mentions of the year. The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Going into this film, I wasn't getting my hopes up for it. I am glad to tell you all that this film has earned its place in the honorable mentions list. I loved Tom Blythe as young Snow. He embodied everything Donald Sutherland was in the original film. Peter Dinklage and Viola Davis looked like they were having fun too, loved that for them. And the way it ended too was just incredible. I do recommend it, and I definitely think it's a lot better than the other Hunger Games films. Barbie. Yes, you're seeing this right. Barbie is an honorable mention, my friends. I actually really enjoyed Barbie. Margot Robbie was fantastic as the main Barbie, and Ryan Gosling was the standout of the film as Ken. He got one hell of a laugh out of me in Barbie, and wow, can he beach. It also had a great message at the end that made me tear up a little bit. That scene with Margot Robbie and Rhea Perlman was lovely, and that's why it's an honorable mention. Okay, now it's time for the list. I haven't seen all films in 2023, I was gonna include The Whale, and Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, but they're both 2022 films and it'd be a bit weird to include them. That and during 2020, I included 1917 and Jojo Rabbit, and they were 2019 films that I saw in 2020. One more thing to take note of is that this isn't an official list. This is my list, so without further ado, this is my top 10 best films of 2023. Starting with
Number 10.
The Creator. Starting off with the surprise of 2023. Slow burn? Yeah. Emotional? Well, it made me tear up. But yeah, The Creator was a fantastic-looking sci-fi starring John David Washington and a little AI girl whose relationship was incredible. The action scenes look sensational. It still blows my mind that the film had the budget it did. The Creator was an amazing sci-fi with amazing action and great acting from JDW, Gemma Chan, and the little girl was just amazing, one of the better child actors in recent years. They were all incredible and it made me tear up at the end. Yeah. It made me shed a tear or two. One of the films that don't need a sequel because it's great as a standalone film.
Number 9.
Wonka. Oh hey, a film I recently watched. We have a new origin story, but this time it's about the amazing chocolatier known as Willy Wonka. This film was an incredible time with so many whimsical moments, and scrumptious musical numbers, and amazing acting by Timothée Chalamet. He was incredible as the inventor and chocolate maker. It had a funny role for Hugh Grant as an Oompa Loompa, and a lovely friendship between Wonka and Noodle. I loved this film, and it's deserving of the number 9 spot. A whimsical and pure imaginative time for the holiday season. Also, a funny role from Keegan-Michael Key as the chief of police. Really want a hoverchalk too. Anyway, check out Wonka. Number 9.
Number 8.
Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. remember D&D? I do indeed, and I am glad I do. This film was fun for fans of the game, and for people who haven't played it and just enjoy a fun fantasy comedy. D&D was a funny film that had me howling in some scenes, especially the distraction spell scene when Chris Pine melts and grows. Loved the cast, loved their chemistry, and please Paramount and E1, make a sequel. I'd love that. Please. I hate that this film didn't get much attention because D&D was just a fun action romp that had me in stitches. There's a scene when they're asking some corpses questions, that was hilarious. Give us a sequel. Ahem, sorry.
Number 7.
John Wick Chapter 4. Keanu Reeves should be protected at all costs. John Wick Chapter 4 was a badass action-packed romp and it hit every mark. Sure, the film was nearly 3 hours, but that doesn't take away from the amazing time I had. It was an amazing dedication to Lance Reddick too, who played Sharon. I loved how the film ended too, might have teared up a bit. I've heard there's meant to be a John Wick Chapter 5, and I do hope there isn't one. Not because I'm sick of the franchise, but because it ended perfectly. Just carry on with the Continental on Amazon Prime. Incredible action scenes, incredible acting, just incredible.
Number 6.
Elemental. Disney is on the list. Elemental was an incredible-looking animation that didn't get any good reviews, I don't think. Why? Elemental is such a feel-good film about two elements coming together and forming a little romance. I loved it. Disney has been killing it with the animations. They sure as hell have been doing a lot better than the live-action crap we've had. I loved the chemistry between the two mains, and it tugged at a few heartstrings for me. The animation was incredible looking and like I said, Disney have been killing it with their animated content. I recently watched Wish, and unfortunately that didn't make it on the list, but I'm glad Elemental did. Now we're here for the top 5 films of the year. As usual, this was a hard decision to make. It's always hard to pick the top 5 and top 3, but this is my decision. Which brings us to number 5, which is...
Number 5.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Didn't think you'd see an MCU film on this list? Yeah, here it is. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was the best MCU product we had this year next to Loki Season 2. The gang were incredible together again. Bradley Cooper was the standout as Rocket, who has a traumatizing backstory that hit me where I live. It also had the first MCU F-bomb as well, that was funny. I was a huge fan of the soundtrack too. You know you're in for a treat when a Guardians film comes out because you get one hell of a good and memorable soundtrack. It's better than the other MCU film that came out this year. Yeah, tune into the next list.
Number 4.
Killers of the Flower Moon. Martin Scorsese comes back with a 3.5-hour epic starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro and Lily Gladstone. It didn't feel like a 3.5-hour film because a lot happens in the film to the point where it just whizzes past in a flash. It also has a little cameo by Oscar winner Brendan Fraser. It was great to see him again. And also an incredible scene-stealing role from Robert De Niro. Oscar contender for sure, folks. I honestly don't know how I didn't walk out to take a leak during the long runtime. Makes for a fantastic epic though. I think it's being released to Blu-ray or 4K soon, so, buy it. I reckon you'll like it. Okay, top 3. Like I said before, this was the hard part. Top 3 lists are always difficult and this one was no different. So at number 3, we have...
Number 3.
Godzilla -1. Another recently watched film on the list. I had heard so many great things about Godzilla -1, and then I went to see it a week and a half ago, the same time I saw Wonka. This film was freaking epic. It had some excellent directing by Takashi Yamazaki, amazing acting from Ryunosuke Kamiki and everyone, some incredible Godzilla action, and the CGI on the big guy was so good, I couldn't tell it was CGI. He looked so scary too when he was attacking Japan, and his atomic breath. Oh my god, it was fantastic. If you haven't seen Godzilla -1, I recommend it so freaking much.
Number 2.
Oppenheimer. Oh hey, another 3-hour epic, but this time about the father of the atom bomb, Robert Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer was an incredible character piece with one of the best explosive scenes I have ever seen in any film. Christopher Nolan perfected this film, Cillian Murphy was sensational, Robert Downey Jr. was awesome as Louis Strauss, and it was a phenomenal film that I really can't wait to watch again. I gotta mention it again, the nuke scene was just mind-blowing how they made it and all the work that went into it. After that scene was so compelling too. Oppenheimer was incredible, give it a watch. Now we are at number 1. The creme de la creme of the year. This was one of the first films I saw at Odeon Cinema and I am glad it was. It's one of my favorite animated films, it's one of my favorite comic book films, and it's one of my favorite films of all time. So, without further ado, my number 1 best film of 2023 is...
Number 1, number 1, number 1, number 1.
Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse. No other film in 2023 had me on the edge of my seat like Across the Spider-Verse did. It was exhilarating, it was exciting, it ended on one hell of a cliffhanger that had one hell of a score playing in the background that swelled and swelled until it just exploded, and the animation was eye-capturing perfection. It was great to hear Shamik Moore and Haley Steinfeld back in their roles, with some more new characters, including Hobie, played by Daniel Kaluuya. This film was insane, incredible and so exciting, hopefully an Oscar winner next year, and that's the reason that this year's number 1 best film is Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse. And that was my top 10 best films of 2023. It had so many fantastic films and I am glad I watched these amazing pieces of cinema. I wanna say thank you for staying for my reviews throughout 2023. I do appreciate you all sticking around on this ride with me, you're all incredible. So with that, I want you all to tell me what your best films are of 2023. What are they? Comment below and let me know what they are. Thank you again for being here with me. I've been the Review Warrior, and I shall see you in my next video, the top 5 worst films of 2023. End card rap guy, take it away.
Thanks for watching my review. If you have any ideas for reviews, comment below and let me know. See you next time on The Review Warrior.
Also, if you like what you see, leave a like and subscribe. Thank you.